Despite the fact that Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots was released in 2008, I never got the chance to play the game until now. I never owned a PlayStation 3 during its heyday, and so it's taken me a while to try out some of its exclusives. However, seeing as it's Metal Gear month, it's time to complete the last Metal Gear Solid title of the series which I've not played. Final chapter of Solid Snake's journey, Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. Wait, hang on. There we go. So yeah, this looks bleak. I mean, the menu's set in a graveyard. The setup for the game has Snake explain to us that war has completely transformed from that of the original games, where PMCs and mechanical monstrosities now serve as the only force of military might in the world. Regular soldiers in the form of the rebels throw themselves at a nanomachine directed highly proficient military foe equipped with ID chipped weapons and groupthink technology. Snake is now a relic of the past, a soldier whom is nonetheless still a cut above the modern warriors of the day, but considerably at odds with the changes of an economically driven string of proxy wars. Though Otacon is still around to help Snake out on the battlefield, this time by arming him with an array of useful gadgets and weaponry. The Mark II allows Snake to scout out areas and communicate with Otacon. His suit allows for adaptive camouflage similar to that of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, without the need to constantly sift through menus. The new Solid Eye informs Snake with tactical data on enemies, their health, weapons and allegiance, with the added bonus of having a thermal night vision and binocular mode. However, Snake is now an old man due to the accelerated aging installed in his genetic code. As such, crouching for too long puts out his back, he now has a stamina gauge which drains with continual exertion, his age has affected his temperament, and as such during firefights Snake gets stressed and frail, and the only reason Snake is even to fight properly is due to his suit's ability to act as a muscle substitute. And I gotta say, Solid Snake is a character I've been through thick and thin with on many missions all across the Metal Gear Solid saga, so to see him like this did make me feel quite emotional. Now from here on I'm going to mention and show partial spoilers in the footage I use due to my experience of the game, but this title is so dense with narrative that I won't be mentioning everything, otherwise, you know, this video would be like 10 hours long. All of the fan favourite characters of the series also return, such as Naomi Hunter, Otacon, Colonel Campbell, Meryl, Mei Ling, and even Eva from Metal Gear Solid 3. Oh, and also Rose and Raiden appear, though I wouldn't use the term favourite. Plus antagonists like Vamp and Ocelot are back with a roster of nasty new adversaries such as the Beauty and the Beast Corps. There are even a couple of new people like Drebin the Arms Dealer and his monkey. This guy with an exclamation point for a haircut. Dave Fennoy from the Walking Dead game. Oh, and there is Sunny, who's Olga Galugovich's daughter. Okay, that's fine. Though I will say Rose is completely underused for the majority of the game, and Drebin could have been omitted completely if needed, as he doesn't really bring that much to the story at all. The game already has a lot of loose ends to tie up, and I find Drebin in particular is a bit of a lazy addition. I mean, when you think about it, Otacon could have taken care of all the purchasing from the Drebin shop because he's kind of very good with computers, and Rose is an analyst as a profession, so surely she would be a good person to do all the exposition about the Beauty and the Beast Corps and all the stuff Drebin talks about. Now, one of the key criticisms of this game is it's the most self-indulgent in the series, primarily due to the fact that this game features the biggest cutscene to gameplay ratio in the entire saga. To give you an idea, this game took me roughly 16 hours to finish, which includes over 8 hours of cutscenes, the longest of which being 1 hour long. Yeah. Now, I actually found Guns of the Patriots to be the easiest game in the series due to several key changes to the gameplay. Snake starts with a tranquilized pistol which is usable for the entire game, plus new weapons dealer Drebin also gives Snake an M4 carbine, which I used for the entire game. There are way too many guns to use in this game, considering that the basics can do the job fine, and honestly, when the majority are only different in their stat changes, they might as well not be in the game at all. For the most part, this game becomes incredibly easy due to the fact that the AI will have difficulty seeing you when in alert stages. Plus, due to the fact that Drebin stocks a huge arsenal of weapons and can instantly sell you ammo and explosives from any point of the game, means Snake rarely needs to worry about gunning down enemies for expedience sake. Compared to the other games, the enemies take a lot more damage, and the Gecko machines at some points of the game can also deflect rockets, which is just annoying, and honestly you can complete the whole game with the basic M4, a rocket launcher, and the railgun found later in the game. That's all you need. Add the militia rebels to the first 2 chapters of the game and you can completely decimate the PMC armies with little effort due to the fact that stealth overall is more or less completely unnecessary for the majority of the game, especially past chapter 3. And while we're on the subject of Chapter 3, God, it's boring. So essentially the game throws out a lot of the stealth mechanics early on, but where it is present it works okay. In fact, many people say the best parts of the game are chapters 1 and 2. However, chapter 3 has an extensively long scene where we have to tail a guy in what looks like Prague. And it's atrocious. You can't get too close, the section takes about half an hour to do, the loading screens present throughout the entire game become particularly pronounced, and for some reason this guy also has a PMC disguise, which he chooses not to use for most of the mission. That's stupid. Plus the Beauty and the Beast core show up every chapter from 2 onwards, and they're for the most part pretty dull. All of them are a mashup of bosses from previous games, such as Laughing Octopus being a mix of Decoy Octopus and Solidus Snake, Crying Wolf being Sniper Wolf and Fortune, and really the boss fights are pretty easy and not much to talk about. Laughing Octopus was probably my favourite as she does try to blend into the environment, but using the solid eye makes it really easy. Raging Raven is mostly just a bullet sponge and more of a showcase to show off how cool her flying abilities are. Crying Wolf is a terrible sniper due to the fact that she's in a suit the size of a small building, and Screaming Mantis is just a gimmicky battle that shoehorns Psycho Mantis nostalgia in to the point where it becomes pandering. I mean, really, the only boss fights I properly enjoyed were the last 2 in the game, which I'll mention later on, but even though I liked them, they were still really easy. Now, it sounds like I'm giving Metal Gear Solid 4 a very hard time, and honestly, I really am. But I actually did really enjoy some parts of the game. The story is mainly retcons with the overuse of nanomachines as a MacGuffin, but I love the story from Chapter 4 onwards. Mainly because we get to go back to Shadow Moses Island from Metal Gear Solid 1, and it's incredible. It's an accurate reflection of the series overall, which works really well with Snake's old age. The facility is in tatters and ruins even, but it's still iconic, memorable and inspiring. For some reason it's full of stupid robot things, but oh well, I'll get rid of those. But it's a perfect representation of Snake's story's conclusion. The fan service to Metal Gear fans in this title really is the primary draw of the game, and I must say as a fan, I loved these moments. There's even a bit where we pilot Metal Gear Rex and face off against Ocelot in the Ray from Metal Gear Solid 2, and it's really cool to play out. And Chapter 5 is incredibly short and in some parts, very stupid. I'm looking at you, Meryl and Johnny proposal scene. But the microwave scene where Snake slowly crawls to the final section of the game while also being burned to a crisp, knowing full well that he's probably going to die very soon, is harrowing. And the final battle with Liquid Ocelot, where the 2 veterans of the series brawl in the styles of each game's music, art direction and combat styles, is fantastic. Even the ending scene where Snake is in the graveyard where the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3 ends wraps the series up nicely. Metal Gear Solid 4 overall is not my favourite game in the series. For me, it's not even close. But I have to say that it's a game I don't regret playing. I put this game off for a long time because I didn't want to see the end of the series I was so enamored with. Metal Gear Solid 4 is very unsure of what it wants to be. Not quite stealth, not quite action. Its story sometimes perfectly done in some parts and others bafflingly strange. Though it does retain the heart and soul of the Metal Gear Solid experience. Its ending is ambiguous, but not unsatisfying. Its characters given their dues, and the fans given their final chapter. The last mission is complete, and I for one, although sad to see him go, I sure as hell had a blast on my final journey with Solid Snake.